Greetings from Berlin, Germany. This is Jeff Stark of the Coin World Podcast. I am here at the 49th World Money Fair. This is actually the 15th event being held here in Berlin. Prior to that, it was in Basel, Switzerland. This is my 13th show. Today, I am lucky to be joined by Sebastian Wyszkowski, who is a Coin World correspondent, among other many numismatic journalism feats. Thank you for being here today, Sebastian.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, and also for me a pleasure to be in the biggest coin show in the world, not in my hometown, but in the capital of Germany. So
yes, certainly your home country, so you're right at home.
Yeah, more or less at home, yes, of course.
And reports say that there are usually about 10,000 folks who come to the show every year. Any sense of how attendance will flush out for this year? What number will hit?
I think it will definitely not be less than last year's. Maybe there will be no new record, but I was actually pretty surprised about the crowds that were in attendance, and especially we had several queues lining up to get coin sets and special show items, and so there was a lot going on the floor this year.
Yes, absolutely. It made walking parts of the floor almost treacherous. Certainly bothersome trying to navigate past the Belgian Mint booth. Japan Mint had a line every day for their special World Money Fair set. They only had 500 of those available for purchase here at the show, and only 500 made total. I know some folks, some sort of adventurous or folks were snapping those up, trying to get them for the folks back in Japan. Of course, before the show, we have the big auction by Kunker, and I know you followed that closely. What excited you from the auction on Thursday?
Well, it was everything, of course, especially because it was my first Kunker Berlin auction that I attended, and I was actually surprised that a lot of separate lots that I didn't think would perform that well, they actually skyrocketed. So I was witnessing one lot. I close remember what it was, but it was some piece that was the starting price was 20,000 euros, and it went up to 240,000 euros within 30 seconds. So that was stunning. And the total results, they have been also phenomenal. I talked to a Kunker representative on Sunday morning, and he said they had a total starting bid of 7 million, and the total final bids were 10 million. So it's once again, if anyone says that numismatics is dead in Germany, he should just attend an auction like this and see what's going on.
Yeah, I was there with you on Thursday to witness some of the action. The lot you referenced, 12 times its starting bid, and the overall sales records, that's better than 25% over the pre-sale estimate. So the Kunker folks have to be delighted about that. And it's interesting for those folks who may be listening in the U.S., to come to the Kunker auction, because unlike an auction in the U.S., the floor, the room where all the action is going on, really is the epicenter. There are folks. I saw a gentleman from the U.S. who was here to bid in the auction. You know, in the U.S., many folks will stay in their hotel room. Maybe they want the anonymity. They don't want to know, other people knowing they're bidding, or they're bidding for clients. The clients are bidding on the phone. Whatever the case may be. But this is certainly in contrast to some of the auctions that we see at U.S. shows, where they're lightly attended. Now, the bids are strong, of course, but here the bids were strong, but attendance was strong as well for the auction. Attendance was strong as well for the show. As we mentioned, there was the booths with special items. It was nice to see. This was, I think, the third time for American listeners, third time that the U.S. Mint was in attendance with a booth. They were part of the very popular World Mint Passport program, and they, I think, were among the better countries, if you will, from a standpoint of value. You go to the UK, the Royal Mint booth, and you get a 1 pence coin. So that's worth 1.3 cents. You go to Japan, maybe you get a 1 or a 5 or a 10. I don't recall, but that's no more than 10 cents U.S. You go to the U.S. Mint booth, you get a quarter, 25 cents. So quite a value for that in the passport thing. What others are some of your observations from the show? It's there's always so much to see and do, and I know we crossed paths as we're trying to venture here and there to cover some of the events. Talk about some of the highlights for you.
Well, from my point of view, the most interesting thing is definitely that the German coins, or the German mints, and the institution that sells coins in Germany, they have rebranded themselves, and they have done a relaunch, you might say. So they had a very technical name before. It would translate to sales agency for German coins, and of course in German it's not 5 words but 1 or 3 long words. So very complicated, very old-fashioned.
A mouthful.
Yes, yeah. And they have rebranded themselves, and they now actually appear on the market as Mint of Germany. That's a translation, of course, of the German term, but I think that's very interesting because we didn't expect something like this to happen. And you have to know that there are 5 German mints. Each of them are like privately run companies, and they also compete with each other on the market. Not, of course, for the euro coins, but when it comes to private issues. And now they have one umbrella name. That's very interesting for me to see how that turns out, and if it's really possible to group these 5 under one roof.
Yeah, that actually sort of recalls the change a few years ago when Israel went from the Israel Government Coins and Metals Corporation to Israel Mint to Holy Land Mint, and it speaks of, it's an easier way to connect with folks. And when you say, the German mints are the place to get money in Germany, that makes sense. It is interesting though, in light of the fact that they cooperate with each other, say in producing the same designs with a different mint mark. But I know there was the technology for the polymer rings, which we saw on the floor here. The German dealer booth. There's a just like in America, there's a professional organization or association of dealers here in Germany. I'm not going to try to pronounce it, but that organization here at the show was selling 10 euro coins for face value. This is the new higher denomination for the coin that features the polymer. It started with a 5 euro a few years ago, and of course that technology was debuted here in Berlin like 5 years ago during a technical forum. I remember attending the technical forum where Gunther Watt of the Mint of Bavaria, I believe, talked about the development of this and how long it took several years. That 5 euro coin has been very popular. You can see sets of those coins selling for 25 euro face value. That's about $28 US. They're going anywhere from $45 to $100 depending on the year. Some of those mints had low mintages, as we said, five mints striking the coins, but they didn't all have the same mintage level, and so some of the coins have proved to be very tough to get.